Welcome back to our second tech talk, and we are now joined by Axis Communications, who offer intelligent surveillance and security solutions that enable a smarter, safer world. Recently, Axis released Axis Camera Station Secure Entry, an end-to-end solution unifying physical access control and video surveillance in one powerful platform, Axis Camera Station. And in this session, Peter Currie, who will be joining us after the presentation, he's the solutions manager at Axis, will demonstrate the key features of this seamless solution that provides video and access management in one intuitive and easy to use interface. They'll show us how you can enhance your security offering with a secure and reliable solution, which has a simple license model and no hidden costs. So if you have any questions for Peter, please do put them in the box, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. And after the presentation, I'll put those questions to him. But first, hope you enjoy the presentation and we'll see you on the other side.
Hi, my name is Peter Currie and I work at Axis Communications in the end-to-end solutions team. Today I'll be showing a brief demonstration of Secure Entry. Secure Entry is a new module which sits inside Axis Camera Station, our end-to-end surveillance solution, and unifies our CCTV with our access control. This unification means all elements of our access control solution now appear on Axis Camera Station. So engineering, configuration and of access control devices, setup of actions and events between these devices, operator credential and user management, and operator situational awareness and search features, all unified into a single solution. I'll be doing this demonstration from my home office, so I'll be using an A1601 with an attached reader and a few buttons to simulate a door. I hope you enjoy the demonstration. Okay, so the whole idea of this presentation really is to give a quick look at what we do within Axis Camera Station Secure Entry. It's not a sort of full product demonstration or a full product tour. It's really just to show the sort of 4 key areas that Secure Entry turns up in Axis Camera Station. So we're going to look at sort of configuration and the basics around configuring an access control system within the solution. A little bit about access management and how you manage cards, so we'll touch on that quickly. A little look at sort of access views, so where access control appears in Secure Entry format within Axis Camera Station, and a little bit about data search, so the ability to search card holder and any other information coming from the access control solution. So let's start configuration. In the configuration menu now, we have a dedicated area for access control. Within this area, we can look at doors and zones. So we can set up doors and we can set up zones. We can set up multiple doors at once. So fairly straightforward engineer setup of the access control product in the solution. We can look at identification profiles. So within here, we can set up which kind of media, which kind of credentials are being used by the operators. And then we can look at the formats of those credentials. So here are the standard formats added straight away with an A1601, but you can also add your own formats. You can also manipulate the sort of pin lengths or change the pin lengths with the maximum and minimum pin length and how long pin are going to be for a pin reader. So that's configuration. Let's go to access management. So this is the management that the operator themselves would do. So here you can see very simple, very straightforward. I've got card holders and groups. I've got access rules, and I've got the relevant doors and zones. So really simple and straightforward. At the moment, I've got one card I have myself in the system here. I have a very basic sort of rule or profile as I've created it. I've added a card and one door that I can go through. So fairly simple, fairly straightforward. What I can also do in here is obviously add an additional card. So I'll just show you that very quickly. So we can add a group of people, or we can add a single card holder. I'm going to add a single card holder. So let's add Mark. Mark Eggett is one of our solutions engineers. I'll give him an ID. be anything. Obviously I could put his email address in, and I can continue to add information if I want to in here, because often sometimes you want quite a bit of information around your card holders available to hand. I'm now going to add a credential for Mark, and it is as simple as this. It's going to add a new card for Mark. I'm going to give this card a name. I'm going to call this standard card. I'm going to select a reader, in this instance demo, that's the name of my reader, and now I'm going to collect the information from that reader to populate Mark's card. So I'll take a new card, I'll put it on the reader. The reader will read the card, but of course not do anything, it doesn't know this card. But now I can add that data into here. And then of course an expiration date, so I'll leave it valid from today until till the end of well, forever, and no validity end date here. So that's now been added. I've now added that. I can also add a picture of Mark as well, which of course is very useful. I could take a picture if I had a camera attached to this device here, but in this instance I'm just going to go take a picture from the file and add that picture. So there's Mark added to our system. There's our new card holder added to our system. It is as simple as that. So now we have Mark and myself added to the system. What you will notice here is this sort of grey area. So this giving me already a warning that the card holder hasn't been added to an access rule. So whilst I've given Mark a profile and I've given him a card, I haven't added him to sort of an access rule. And I do this as simply as just drag and drop it. So I can drag and drop this here. And now Mark is added to that specific door, so he's allowed through this door in this profile. So this door in this profile. So very simple and very straightforward. Other areas we have here, there's a whole area here to sort of export specific reports, quite a common thing within access control and quite useful. So the ability to export a card holder details report, an access rule report, etc. And we can just sort of export this very simply, very quickly in a .csv format. Other areas here, we can go in and change sort of the card holder information and add custom fields. So this is when you go in to add a card holder, you could put as much information as you want in here first, so it's already put in. And of course we can import and export as much or as many users as you want in one hit as well. Again, simple, straightforward, easy, but all the features and functions you'd expect to see in a good quality access control solution. Okay, so we've seen two areas, configuration and access management. Let's now have a quick look at how we see access control within access camera stations, so where we see it within the live client. And we'll also have a quick look at data search as well, so how we search data from the access control system within access camera station and look at the information it provides related and attached to the video. So if we go straight into live views, those who are familiar with access camera station will know how easy it is to create a view, and of course now we can create a view with access control information in it. So any view now could have this access control information added to it. On the right hand side here we have this sort of live dashboard. So this is information in this instance from one door, could be multiple doors. From here I can actually interact with the door itself, so I can grant access, and you'll see the icons change here as well by the door, so I can see the status of the door, the live status of the door. So that would let someone through the door. I could lock this door if it was unlocked, or I could unlock it. And of course if I unlocked it, it would remain unlocked until I locked it physically again, or locked it via here again, or until a schedule locked it again. And I can even lock down. So in this instance I've locked down a separate door, but of course this could be an area of doors, and now someone can't even get sort of through the door either way because it's in the lockdown scenario. So very straightforward information from the access control system displayed within access camera station client, so the operator can interact with this information. And of course this information could be all sorts of information from the door itself. This is a door forced, so I've simulated the door being forced. I get an instant alarm within access camera station. Now generally I would create an event for that, and I would change the video to instantly show me the incident happening, and perhaps even the live video next to it. But in this instance I've just let it arrive in my alarm stack, so I have a separate alarm stack here, and I can go straight to that incident, so I can see when that door was forced from here. What happened before, what happened after, by just moving the video. So very simple, very straightforward way of interacting with information from the door. So that's information from the door. relative to the sort of hardware in the door itself. But let's have a look at a very quick look at sort of card holders coming through the door as well. So here's a card holder coming through the door. Here's the image derived from that card, or the data on that card, to the person who came through the door. If I'm an operator, I can just check that that is the person I expect to be coming through the door, and they are using their own card. So I'm comfortable with that. So that's fairly straightforward. And here we have a dashboard. This is the last few sort of interactions with this device. And then I have a separate area called transactions. And within here I can save information that's potentially of interest to me. So if I now use another card on the system, I can see now as an operator that this isn't me, this is somebody else. I'm not comfortable with that. Someone's using somebody else's card, so I can mark this. I've now marked this, and if I go to the transactions area, this is the last transaction. So this is sort of a way of just marking that there was an incident now I'm interested in and keeping an eye on, or want to react to. So maybe I've now gone and had a conversation with the card holders involved and said, look, you mustn't share your cards around. It's not a secure way of doing things. I can then obviously just delete this from the transactions area. So that's a simple way, and just a very quick look at us reacting or acting to live access control information within the Access Counter Station client. Let's have now a very quick look at data search. So searching this data retrospectively, because often this is a really important part of access control systems. If something's happened within the system, I want to see very quickly what's happened, and I want to potentially export that information as well, or react to that information. So we're going to data search here, and we'll search whatever we want to. In this instance, let's search some card holder information. So I'm going to search for myself here. I've got a start date of yesterday, and there's a 24-hour period till today. Obviously, you can change this and influence this any way we want. I'm just going to search that. That returns all of this information. So these are all the times I've been through this specific door or put my card onto the reader. As it is in this instance. I can go from the last time this happened or the first time it happened, whichever I want in the list. If I click into this, I can see the time and the place where I put the card onto the reader. We have the two triangles here. This shows when I put the card on the reader and when the reader stopped reacting. So fairly straightforward, fairly simple. It's a very quick way of getting to the transaction, to someone coming through that door, a quick way of searching to see if people are in the building and where they are potentially in the building. It's very simple and straightforward and easy. What else can we search for in here? Well, any other sort of activity or information we get back from the access control system. Let's look at door forced. A common one to potentially want to look at. So when was the door forced? How was it forced? And again, we can go straight to the incident. So here we are. This is me forcing the door. This is the incident again, and the marker on the video to show me where the incident happened, which is pretty useful. And of course, what I can do from here is I can export. So I can export straight away. So I can take the specific area I want to export. I can influence, how much of the video I want to export and where I want to export it to, and then off we go and export it. And here I can manipulate that video, move that video, and export it to wherever I want to go. So simple, straightforward, and easy. I can even export in different file formats. So as I say, very simple, very easy to do.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that presentation. I'm really happy to say that we have Peter Currie, who is the Solutions Manager at Access Communications, with us now. And we have this time to put any questions that you might have to Peter from what you've seen in the presentation. And just a reminder, if you don't know, there is a chat function right next to the screen on the right hand side. So please do put your questions and we'll try and put them to him. And Peter, welcome to Tech Talks. How are you doing? I'm very well, thanks, Geeta. Good to see you. You have the coolest backdrop so far as well, I have to say, for a Tech Talk person. Okay, I'm lucky enough to have a little home office, so yes. Looks great. Well, we've got lots of questions coming in, so let me kick off with the first one. It is a question asking, is there an upfront cost to the system for installation? For installation, I mean, obviously, we're a manufacturer. There's no cost as such
for Access Camera Station Secure Entry. It's part of Access Camera Station, comes sort of free of charge with Access Camera Station, which is the way we sort of trying to do our video management system. The only cost is a cost per A1601, which is a 2-door controller that you add to the system. So as I say, to make it simple, there's no cost to our base software, there's no cost to our client software. The only cost is every device you add to Access Camera Station, be it a camera or other device.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question as well. The next one I have, Peter, is does it work with a mobile access solution?
Mobile apps? Well, not yet. It's on its way. So it's in the development roadmap that it works with a mobile app, or there's an amount of connectivity to a mobile app. So you can view our client with the mobile app and then the information on board. That might be the question. The other part of that question is, does it work with a mobile, a mobile phone as a credential? And the answer to that is very shortly. So again, that's part of our development roadmap. And part of what we see moving forward has become more important. Actually, we see that credentials won't necessarily just be one card that a card holder holds. A credential could be anything, and will often be a mobile phone. I mean, let's face it, we always have our mobile phones with us, or it could be an LPR, license plate recognition. So part of your credential could be your car, your partner's car, or your mobile device. So yeah, we will have other credentials moving forward for sure.
So that's something you're looking at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Peter. So another question, which is quite an interesting one, is does Access Secure Entry System work only with Access cameras and access systems, or can it work with any hardware and different suppliers?
Well, it's an interesting question. I mean, we've always been the open company, or an open company. In fact, when we started in the industry, I think people thought we were mad. We were very open in the way we do things, and we continue to be open. So our software development kits, our API, in effect, is always free of charge, and people are free to develop with our products and inside our products. Access Camera Station, if I'm totally honest with you, functions best with Access product. That's what it's designed for, and that's part of the strength of the whole end-to-end offering. However, we do have an OnViv driver, so we do have the ability to add OnViv cameras to Access Camera Station. So sort of a support for other cameras. How deep we can integrate and interact with those cameras is really down to the device itself, and how deep we can get in OnViv. So yes, we can integrate to other camera devices within Access Camera Station. It's a universal license, so it's a different license to the standard core license, which is for our own product. But it is available.
No, that's great. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for that question too. I guess in a more sort of general question for anyone who might just be joining us now, perhaps didn't see the presentation, Peter, what would you say are the greatest benefits of this product?
Okay, that's interesting. So, well, Access Camera Station we've been developing for some years now. So when we came to market with partners, sort of open platform VMS manufacturers who are our partners, and we went to the market together, and they're still very, very valuable partners to us. But we've been asked more and more now to also produce our own software for people that want an end-to-end solution. And when you look at the way we've unified access control and CCTV, you can see some real benefit here. So this unification between our access control product and our CCTV product means you've got a single platform to do everything. So a single platform for the engineer to set up a system, a single platform, a single screen in effect for the operators to set up credentials for users and to manage those users, as well as a single screen or multiple screens for each operator if they want them, for them to be able to monitor the security solution and monitor the action and interaction between CCTV and access control, which is so important, and why you do see a lot of integration between access control and CCTV. But as I say, in this instance, it's very much a unified system. There's not two separate systems that need to be configured, or two separate systems that need to be licensed or charged for. And there's not two separate systems for people to understand how they work. It's an all-in-one system and solution. So that's the biggest advantage.
So you really try to streamline there to make it as simple.
Absolutely, as simple as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in that kind of world now. People want things and they want them to work easily, and we're seeing that more and more with, with our iPhones, with many devices. It's about things working simply and easily, and then they should do. We should use technology to make things work well together, but simply together.
Absolutely. Well, I've got something else that's come through, Peter, and it's really someone who wants to ask if you could talk a bit more about intelligent video detection.
Okay, well, I mean, intelligent video detection, slightly different subject to here, but it's a really important subject to us. Video analytics, as such, has been around, as the industry knows, for some time now, and never has a product or a sort of product type been so over-promised and so under-delivered, if I'm totally honest with you. And we saw that right from sort of 15, 20 years ago with the very first sort of video motion detection that multiplexers could do. They promised so much and unfortunately didn't deliver much. But what we've seen with video analytics is people's expectations have come to be sort of a bit more realistic to what an analytic could do, but also the algorithms have become much stronger. The processing available on the device as well as central locations has got much better. So we are now seeing sort of artificial intelligence and more like deep learning starting to really help deliver in analytics. So we have we try to keep everything at the edge. We think that's where sort of processing of this information should be. The heavy lifting should be. So if you can imagine now that with analytics, instead of sort of running a fairly simple analytic to understand or try to understand, was that emotion in video? And then set an alarm from it, which has always been problematic because you're either too sensitive or you're not sensitive enough. Nowadays, with deep learning and with sort of artificial intelligence, we can start to classify what we're seeing in the image. So we can understand if it's a person or it's a vehicle. And then you can start to make alarm information and general data information from these images much more reliable, because you're starting to be able to understand with a high sort of quality of understanding what you're actually looking at within the scene, or what the machine learning is looking at within the scene. So yeah, it really is still very interesting times within video analytics. We see them used and deployed more and more. And they used to be the sort of the restrict or the area of very advanced systems, and perhaps systems with very sterile perimeters. But we see them used more and more now in everyday life for lots of different things, not necessarily security applications, but to help marketing, to help retail understand where people are within their business, and to make people's experience in their business better.
So a real shift there you're
Mm.
seeing quite tangibly. So I've got a couple more questions, Peter, which is fantastic. Thank you for sending these. The next one is, why do you believe a unified security platform solution encompassing CCTV, access and potentially intruder will continue?
As I say, it's actually often about ease of use. It's about ease of use in designing a system, because actually if you have to design a system from lots of different components, knowing that they're all going to work together isn't necessarily easy. You need a level of technology and a level of skills to be able to understand that's going to work, and potentially a level of different conversations with different distributors, with different who provide the product, to make sure these devices work together. So there's a big advantage of an integrated sort of unified solution, not an integrated solution from one vendor, is that all these devices will work together, and you should be able to have a conversation with one person when you design the system. That's the sort of end-to-end product provider, in this instance Axis Communications. So that's a big advantage when you're designing a system, same when you're implementing, and of course when you're supporting. And that's one of the biggest issues we've had from end users, and particularly from integrators, is when you deploy best of breed solutions from different manufacturers, if things go wrong, and things can go wrong, who's at fault? And sometimes it's really hard to diagnose those faults. It takes time to diagnose them. It takes good engineering skills and understanding to be able to diagnose the fault, and then to get the system or solution working. And integrators are losing face with their end users while they have systems that aren't working properly, while there's a bit of bickering potentially in the background about who's responsible for what. Because, I mean, basically, if you're a support team and you get a support call, and it's your camera and not your VMS, or vice versa, you may well, but the first thing you say was, we'll check with them, because as far as we know, everything should work together. So support is very important, and being able to talk to one manufacturer and to leave the responsibility for faults and problems with the system or solution is a real benefit to our partners.
Because I guess you can lose a lot of time in trying to figure out where to go, who to talk
Absolutely, yeah. And that goes all the way through, as I say, even time in design. It's one set of phone calls, so it's one quite quick set of design. You need less equipment sometimes on your shelf as an integrator to support systems and solutions. And certainly it's much quicker to resolve any technical support issues, not only obviously when the system's installed, but downstream when maybe a firmware upgrade to one device can sort of stop a system or solution working properly. Now, with an end-to-end solution from one vendor, that probably won't happen and shouldn't happen. And there's always a consideration within Access now of our whole roadmap of all of our products is how is it going to work in an end-to-end solution moving forward? Are we going to use that device in our end-to-end solution? If so, let's make sure it's readily available and works properly within our end-to-end solutions.
Great, thanks, Peter, and thank you for that question. So we've got a few more minutes left. I've got another question that's come through, sort of picking up on something you were talking about earlier, Peter. And you mentioned 4 aspects of the system: configuration, access management. What are the other 2 areas of this system?
Okay. Yeah. So if you sort of look at sort of 4 areas within Access Camera Station that our access control offering now appears, one is the configuration for the engineer. So that's the engineers actually installing the doors, the door controllers and the readers. The next part is for the operator who's running the access control system in effect. So they can start to issue cards, start to put cardholder data into a database. So there's 2 areas. Then you're looking at your key features or functions in an integration between an access control system and a CCTV system. So that's interaction between the devices. So someone's using a card and that card is flagged as an alarm or a door is forced. You get the video information and the access control information instantly at the same time. So that's really useful. That's sort of the ability to live guide people through a system, the ability to sort of see someone at a door and allow them in as an operator. So that interactive ability in a live situation. And then lastly, the 4th area is searching. So it's the ability to search the database of Access Camera Station and see what happened and how it happened effectively. So if I wanted to trace you, Geeta, I could put your name into a search area and it would show me every time you've been through an access control system and every camera associated with that access control transaction. So we might be able to see where you are in a building or where you've been in a building and see if it was you that had your card, should your card go missing and someone starts to use it.
Oh, that's good to know. I'll make sure I behave if I'm near your system. No, that's great. Thank you, Peter. And I was just wondering as well, in terms of the market, what's the response been like to the camera? And also, has there been anything surprising, any unexpected reactions?
It's been very positive, actually. We've enabled a level of integration or interaction between our access control products and our VMS in the past, and that enabled us to have ideas of the door status, but nowhere near like this unified system and solution, an all-in-one package. It still felt like 2 different systems, really, whereas now unified. And I've been pleasantly surprised by the amount of people that really see the value in this. If they want an all-in-one system, this really works for them. And seeing how deeply we have enabled and unified our access control with our CCTV, yeah, it's been a really positive reaction to the market. So we're really pleased with that.
Okay, well, Peter, thank you so much. I think we're running out of time now, but thank you for answering all those questions. There were some really great questions there. That's Peter Currie, the Solutions Manager at Access Communications, also with the coolest background going at the moment. So I feel like I need to up my game with being a bit cooler. But if you have any other questions about the product that we've just been speaking about, you can book a meeting with an Access Communications representative. That's at the exhibitor booth, so please do that. We will be back with the next tech talk at 12:15, and that's with Cisco Meraki. So hope to see you then, and thanks for joining us now.
Thanks, Keith.